This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Hello, everyone. It is May Day, the workers' holiday, and for the second straight year, there were rallies all over America on behalf of millions of people who work in this country illegally, illegal immigrants. It's estimated there are as many as 12 million in this country illegally. Nearly 4 million households are headed by an undocumented immigrant. And what are they and their supporters demanding? We have two reports tonight, beginning with Bill Whitaker.
10,000 in Los Angeles. In Chicago, 150,000. In Orlando, Denver, Houston, dozens of cities across the country, hundreds of thousands of demonstrators took to the streets, calling, like last year, for reform of U.S. immigration laws.
I want equal rights for everybody and everybody to be treated the same.
Still far fewer than last year, when 1 million marched to protest a bill in Congress that would have made it a felony to enter the country illegally. When that bill died, so did some of the movement's fervor.
Unfortunately, in American politics, fear is a much greater mobilizer than hope.
The Latino coalition that was so united last spring is splintered now. Violin, one of the most popular DJs in LA, used his microphone as a bullhorn to get people in the streets last year. This year, he's not urging them to march, but to write 1 million letters to Congress calling for immigration reform.
The letter is another way to demonstrate that we support an immigration reform that is important.
Other groups are working to register almost 3 million new voters, to sign up 1 million new citizens, to stop federal raids and deportations. More than 220,000 illegal immigrants were deported in the last 12 months, up 20% from the previous year. Fernando Guerra calls it political maturity.
This year, you're seeing all these groups doing different works in different areas, different sectors, pursuing different strategies, which is a good thing.
Still, a year later, they're no closer to getting what they want most: legal status for the 12 million immigrants here illegally. It's at the top of President Bush's domestic agenda again this year: tougher border security, a guest worker program, and a pathway to citizenship for the millions here illegally already.
And they would have to wait in line behind those who played by the rules and followed the law.
But the chance for real immigration reform seems slim again this year. So these marchers plan to keep up the pressure to change the laws and stop the deportations, which they say are breaking up families. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Los Angeles.
I'm Sandra Hughes in San Diego, where 9-year-old Adeline Munoz packs for her weekly trip to Tijuana, Mexico. It's the only place she can see her parents. In February, Abel Munoz and Zulma Miranda were deported by immigration officials. They had been living in the United States for 18 years on expired visas.
My dad, he got handcuffed. I feel scared, and I couldn't sleep that day.
Even with an aunt here, the responsibility to cook, clean, and pay bills has fallen on 16-year-old Leslie.
So much on me that sometimes I can't anymore. It's just too much.
All 3 Munoz children were born in the U.S., so they are legal citizens. But they weren't celebrating even on Adeline's birthday last week.
Here, I don't want to celebrate my birthday because I feel sad that my parents are not here. When you see your little sister is heartbroken, she's just there crying, and you wish that you can bring her parents back because she wants them back. It's hard.
It's unclear how many children have been left behind in the U.S. to fend for themselves since the government launched Operation Return to Sender. Almost 24,000 people have been arrested for visa violations, sparking protests across the country. For those deported back to Mexico, this is what divides families: the U.S.-Mexico border. Children on one side, the parents on the other, both facing an uncertain future. The Munoz family border reunions are bittersweet. The parents say they just couldn't bring the children to the slums of Tijuana with no jobs and sharing only a room at Zulma's parents'.
The deportation was inhumane. Our kids will never forget it. The little one always tells me, every time I hear a knock on the door, I think it's immigration.
Critics of illegal immigration concede it's a tough situation, but one the parents themselves created.
If a U.S. citizen parent commits a crime and is arrested, nobody is out there protesting that this person shouldn't be separated from his kids to go to jail.
Jenks says part of the problem was past lax enforcement.
Once we routinely enforce the law, we will face this situation much less because there will be fewer people coming in and putting themselves in this position.
Making a decision no parent wants to make. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Tijuana.
Turning now to Washington and the historic showdown tonight between President Bush and congressional Democrats. It's over the war funding bill that calls for withdrawing most U.S. troops from Iraq by next spring. Tonight, as promised, the president vetoed that bill using a pen given to him by the family of a Marine killed in combat 2 years ago.
It makes no sense to tell the enemy when you plan to start withdrawing. All the terrorists would have to do is mark their calendars and gather their strength and begin plotting how to overthrow the government and take control of the country of Iraq.
I'm Jim Axelrod at the White House, where the president's veto came with drama, but no suspense.
This legislation respects the wishes of the American people to end the Iraq War.
Democrats knew the veto was coming when they sent the bill to the White House this afternoon.
A veto means denying our troops the resources and the strategy that they need.
In fact, that was why they sent it this afternoon. Today is the 4th anniversary of President Bush declaring major combat operations over.
Major combat operations in Iraq have ended. In the Battle of Iraq, the United States and our allies have prevailed.
Delivered under a mission accomplished banner, the speech is a favorite for critics trying to illustrate a president who misjudged Iraq from the outset. But a Senate Democrat says they've pushed their demand for troop deadlines as far as they can. While C-SPAN caught Senator Joe Biden telling a voter in South Carolina Democrats had the upper hand with Mr. Bush.
We're going to shove it down his throat.
Okay. Democrats know they don't have the 2/3 needed to override the veto. That's why the rough outlines of the Democrats' offer for compromise are starting to emerge. Back off the withdrawal deadline and instead push for benchmarks on Iraqi troop readiness, with penalties if they're not reached.
The next chapter will unfold tomorrow afternoon when congressional leaders come here to the White House to meet with the president and begin to negotiate. But tonight, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi says it is clear there is still a great distance between the president and the Congress. Katie?
Jim Axelrod at the White House tonight. They had the annual May Day party in Havana today, and the question was, would the man who always attends be there this year? Fidel Castro has not appeared in public since undergoing intestinal surgery last summer. From Havana, here's our chief foreign correspondent, Lara Logan.
It may be hard to believe, but by Cuba's May Day standards, this was considered a small affair. Perhaps because the organizers knew the usual guest of honor wasn't going to show. Instead, Fidel Castro's younger brother Raul, the country's acting president, took his place again.
This is the first time in 40 years that Fidel Castro hasn't made it to this parade, a celebration that would have been unthinkable without him a year ago. But today his absence is hardly a shock to a nation that already seems to be getting by without him.
It's been 9 months since a critically ill Fidel Castro vanished from public life.
The much-awaited disruption in Cuban life didn't materialize.
Nobody in this country expected any such a thing to happen.
But these shocking images released last October forced Cubans to face the fact that the leader so present in their lives for so long may not come back. In spite of his record as a repressive dictator, he's seen by many as the father of this nation. Fermín Despain was born nearly 100 years ago. He credits Fidel for his long and healthy life. The Cuban economy is healthy too, boosted by recent Chinese and Venezuelan investment. But the same entrenched problems that have hobbled this nation for years remain. Access to housing, food and transportation.
Life is hard. You go to sleep every single night and you have to think about what about tomorrow.
This is a time of uncertainty in Cuba, but all signs so far are pointing to a future that looks a lot like the past. Lara Logan, CBS News, Havana.
Meanwhile, if you want the Wall Street Journal, you can buy it for $1 at the newsstand. Or if you're billionaire Rupert Murdoch, you can buy the whole company, or at least try to. His News Corporation offered $5 billion today for the Journal's parent company, Dow Jones. But the family that controls Dow Jones says, keep your money, not interested. On Wall Street today, the company's namesake index closed at another record high. There is much more CBS News ahead. When we come back, it's called cheese, and it's a potentially deadly new way teenagers are getting high. A frightening scene here in New York City today. A stolen car being chased by police slammed into a school bus. The bus flipped over, sending 8 children and at least 3 adults to the hospital. None of the injuries was serious. Just yesterday, the Supreme Court ruled that police may continue high-speed chases, even if it puts innocent people at risk. A warning tonight for parents about a new way many teenagers are getting high. What many of the teens don't know is this new drug of choice, known as cheese, contains heroin. Here's Kelly Kobiea.
They actually found him right here.
David Witherspoon can't get this cold concrete tunnel out of his mind. It's where his 17-year-old son Keith died. Still hard?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Keith is one of at least 18 North Texas teens to overdose on heroin in the last 2 years. Do you think Keith knew when he started taking it that he was taking heroin?
No, and none of these kids know at that age.
They know it as cheese. It's nighttime pain reliever, crushed and laced with black tar heroin that sells for $2 a hit.
We'll have it tested to see what's in it.
Cheese is the new classroom high. Though kids are dying, kids are still buying. Arrests for possession in Dallas schools have jumped 82% this year, with dealers as young as 11.
Well, I see a lot of people doing it in class everywhere.
Victor started using in middle school, snorting cheese through a hollowed-out pen when his teacher turned her back.
You take the top, then you take this, and then you sniff it.
Only 16, he's now in rehab for the second time in 7 months after nearly dying 3 weeks ago.
The next time I did some, I didn't feel high with one line, so I needed to use more to get high.
5 years ago, the state health department paid for 19 North Texas teens to be treated for heroin addiction. Only halfway through this fiscal year, and that number had grown to 135 teenagers, a 600% increase at more than 10 times the cost. Treatment centers like Dallas's Phoenix House are feeling the strain. There's not enough money to fill all the beds, and they've had to cut treatment time from 6 months to 6 weeks.
We've got a tragedy on our hands.
Dallas DEA boss James Capra is trying to stop the problem before it spreads beyond Texas.
Kids are saying, oh, it's cheese, it's cheese. It's heroin. It's deadly, deadly heroin.
We're gonna save our children!
North Texas schools are scrambling to get the word out to parents. The Witherspoons wish they'd know more about cheese. Do you think you did enough as parents?
You always question that too.
Now they hope sharing their loss will prevent dark days for another family. Kelly Kobiea, CBS News, Dallas.
And still ahead tonight, millions of Americans say they are addicted to internet porn, where some are going to kick the habit next. In tonight's Eye on Technology, high-tech addiction. According to a recent study, the average American spends more than a half hour a day on the internet. That's the average. Many people spend hours online. And what are they looking at? At any given moment, more than 28,000 web users are viewing pornography. They have more than 4 million porn websites to choose from, and 4 million American adults say they are addicted to them. Tonight, science and technology correspondent Daniel Seberg continues our series, Caught in the Web.
Okay. And then when you're coming through here, gun it. Hit it. Mark Searles is a family man, an insurance inspector, a devout Christian, and a recovering internet porn addict.
It's just you and the computer. There is no one to tell you no.
Mark says for nearly a year he would sneak onto the home computer and indulge his fantasies for several hours at a time.
What I'm doing I know is wrong, but it just kind of pulls you in. When you become that addict, you forget everything else. All reasoning gets put way on the back burner.
But Mark's secret was exposed one day when his wife discovered some of the websites he'd been surfing.
I was a combination of sad and angry and disappointed and hurt.
The world of pornography has clearly changed. Buying porn used to mean risking embarrassment.
Hey, Ralph, how much is a copy of
Just put them in a bag, will you?
Today, porn is consumed in private, online, by an estimated 40 million Americans.
Addiction to internet porn often isn't dealt with simply because, well, no one wants to talk about it, which means they don't get any help. But now, thanks to one group, people are starting to talk about it at churches like this one here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, over breakfast.
They call it porn and pancakes. Men come here to get help for themselves, for others, or simply out of curiosity.
We wanted to create a safe place where people could go to get help and realize that they're not the only ones.
Youth Minister Craig Gross founded a virtual ministry, XXXchurch.com. He takes his traveling roadshow to churches across the country. Using his skills as a pastor, along with some slick videos, Craig hammers home the ills of porn.
We think that there's a world that's kind of gone astray when it comes to this industry, and we want to talk to you.
Some people here just want to head off problems before they start, like these two fathers who brought their teenage sons.
It's going to come into your life. If you think it's not going to, you're just kidding yourself. If you think it's not going to come into your kid's life, you're kidding yourself.
How common is it for your friends to be surfing pornography online or see it on a cell phone?
Oh, it's like every day.
Ironically, people are seeking help online at sites like this one from the University of Texas. Another solution,
I get his accountability report.
Installing internet monitoring software so someone you trust can keep track of the websites you visit. Mark Searles didn't have high-tech help. He says his wife has helped him remain clean, and his son has already learned a lesson about how harmful internet porn can be.
It's very humbling to have a 9-year-old tell a 37-year-old man, Dad, this is wrong.
All part of bringing a difficult subject into the open. Daniel Seberg, CBS News, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
And Daniel has a lot more about online addiction on our website at cbsnews.com. And tomorrow night, Kids Hooked on the Web will take you halfway around the world to show you what one country is doing about it in the conclusion of our series, Caught in the Web. One of the most familiar faces on television, almost as long as there's been television, has died. Tom Poston. He was a regular on the Steve Allen Show in the 1950s and a panelist on To Tell the Truth into the 60s. But he is probably best remembered for his roles in Bob Newhart's sitcoms. Tom Poston was 85. He's survived by his wife, also a Newhart alum, actress Suzanne Pleshette. The fashionistas on Fifth Avenue may care about being fashion forward, but on Main Street in Tehran, the new spring line means staying in line, especially this season. Here's Elizabeth Palmer.
In Iran, spring fashion season brings the spring fashion crackdown. Special police operations to enforce the Islamic dress code. This year, with hardliners in power, it's the harshest in years. One arrest was filmed on a cell phone by bystanders, a young woman being bundled into a police car for so-called immodest dress. "I won't go," she screams. "Let go, you filthy pigs." Many Iranian women remain defiant. And in the mountains north of Tehran, where the authorities don't venture, the daring do, showing off tight jeans, lots of hair, and distinctly un-Islamic hats. Tehran women keep a weather eye on store windows in this part of town because they act as a kind of political barometer. As soon as there's a crackdown coming, the bright colors disappear and the hemlines drop. When the regime talks tough, the tough go shopping.
Scarves? Oh yeah. We'll have to go back there.
I took a group of women to a Tehran mall to see where they draw the line these days. This is a manteau, the outer garment that has for many replaced the coverall chador.
This is long, yes, and cover all of your body.
Afsana explains what's acceptable these days and what's an arrestable offense.
You cannot wear this kind of shoes. So nail polish would be even worse. Oh my God, yes. Yes, nail polish is forbidden.
And a dress that would be drop-dead chic at a party would be a drop-dead offense in public.
You wouldn't wear that on the street. No, I wouldn't. They kill you. With this, they kill you.
But as a Western reporter in Iran, I had to play it safe, wearing the most basic of black models.
You would never wear this. No, never and ever. Oh my God, sorry, this is ugly.
If this seems all style and no substance,
that may be the point. The current regime is betting that women battling for freedom on the fashion front will have less energy for any larger political fight. Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News, Tehran.
And that is the CBS Evening News for tonight. I'm Katie Couric. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.